the virtual Creative Morning stage, Matt.
I'm going to take you through a journey from the first moment Laura Lee and I started chatting all the way to where I'm at this morning. And the intent of this entire journey is to have you see yourself in it. I want to be of value to all of you, and to come here and say anything about design or filmmaking or photography or video production just seemed like something that isn't really my space for you. It's not the place where I'm going to be of most value to the people here. A lot of you are my heroes. You're people I look up to. I don't know that I would teach you much from that arena. And I decided to just get out of the idea that I would teach you anything. I just want to share. And I'm hopeful that in some way, shape, or form, this journey to immerse myself in this one word, Divergent, connects with you, and that you walk away with some things you can do, some activities you can engage in, some people you can talk to, and that it is of value to you in terms of connecting with other people. And I am going to talk about that one line about trying to rebrand love. It freaks me out to publicize that word, but that was a challenge, and I'm going to talk about that soon. So, of course, the first thing I did when I heard this word is Google it, and the challenge with that is that the first 6 pages or 6 screens are all about the movie Divergent, and you can't really actually get very far without just going and watching the movie. So I did that. And I almost watched the next 2 movies, 3 movies, whatever it is. And my wife started getting into it. She's watching it with me. And I had to cut off that research because it seemed like too easy of a grab. I was literally going to put together a presentation based on the factions from the movie Divergent and profile all of us into the different groups with a sense of humor and sarcasm and take us there. And it just seemed too easy. And we're creatives and we don't do things the easy way. So I'm going to share with you 5 stories. I've named the stories so that they're kind of easy to remember, but I've also named them so that you can place your story there. I'm going to walk you through this journey over the last month or so, and hopefully it just gives you something that you can see around you that impacts you. I want to start with the first story called Accept the Invite. So back in August of 2020, there was a post that Laura Lee put out saying, hey, we're looking for speakers. And I'm going to be fully transparent with everybody. At that time, I had this really cool idea. It was more than an idea. It was a website. I was doing stories. I was like working on this thing. And I thought, wow, that'd be really cool to share this idea and really like get the word out. You know, it was kind of an angle, like I'm going to get the word out about this thing I'm working on. And then as I reached out, Laura Lee said, thank you. You know, we'll get back to you when the timing's right. And then in January, she reaches out. She says, hey, so interested in speaking? And without even asking a question, I said, yeah, let's do this. And then I asked, what's the theme? And she says, Divergent. And I freaked out. I had no idea what that word meant. The first visual that came to my mind are 2 crossing arrows going opposite directions. And my brain's just like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know what this word means. I don't know what to say. I don't have a story for this. It doesn't fit the thing I was going to promote. And then this artwork showed up, and it really got things moving. And so I want to take a minute and just look at this artwork and share with you some of the things I'm observing. You know, with art, we all see different things, and that's the beauty of it. But I just want to share the basics of what I see. you've got one plant, two different directions, but one plant. It comes from one source, but going different directions. As you follow each of the what I'll call stems or branches, each side is unique. They're different. You've got birds on one, spiders on the other, worms fly on the other. There's symmetry all across the board. You can look on one side and see not the opposite, but see a different thing on the other side. And there's these two beautiful characters in the middle reaching out for each other. And I started to see a heart in there. I don't know if anybody else sees that, but it kind of comes around and comes back together. And it's the whole like divergent, convergent thing. It's almost cyclical, and it just keeps bringing your eye back around. And I just thought there's so much beauty in this visual, and this visual really started to take all the random thoughts and random research and things that I was trying to force into what I would share about Divergent. And by the way, until I saw this, nothing was working. I had pages and pages and all kinds of stuff. I had outlines. I had PowerPoints I started trying to design just because I thought maybe that would get me there. And none of it was working. It just didn't feel right. It felt forced. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the next piece of this. But what I want you to think about from that story is just sometimes you're going to have an opportunity to go do something that scares the crap out of you. Or you're going to think that that opportunity is one thing, and you're going to show up and find out it was a different thing. And what I've learned in this experience is enjoy being wrong about something. Enjoy having your gut checked. Feel the privilege of humility and being put in your place a little bit. And that was kind of my experience with the word divergent. I was not an expert here. I didn't know the word. I didn't know how to even go about it. And usually I can find words. And I really had to work hard on this one. I really had to invite that word and this idea into my life and let it tell me what it is, as opposed to controlling it and designing it and putting something in place. So participate when things come in front of you that you're a little nervous about or afraid about. Get involved in those things and pursue the outcome. Pursue having it tell you what it's going to be, as opposed to controlling what it's gonna be. The second story I want to share, I'm calling role models, and for role models, I'm really going to set the stage for Laura Lee and I are going back and forth in Instagram, and when the word divergent came, I'm going to just share with you what I started to observe around me at the moment. I did not put this together until I started looking at the word divergent, but I was reading a book by Emmanuel Acho called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. And what you need to know, if you've read the book, you already know. If you haven't read the book, your homework is to read this book now. Like you should be on, like, ignoring me, going to wherever you buy books and get the book. And Emmanuel Acho wrote the book for me, by the way. It was just for me, and he spoke to me, and it changed me in a variety of ways. That's a whole different conversation for another day. But I was in this book, and it was affecting my home. We're having conversations. It's affecting the way I view myself as a parent, as a son, as a husband, as a friend, just all of it. And parallel to that, I'm going to work clockwise on this. At the same time, I was taking this class. We talked about kind of creative outlets and what we've done during the pandemic to try new things and go different directions. I didn't know that I was doing this, but I was learning to write. I was just curious about it. I'm not a writer by craft. I don't think, but I have this urge to share some stories, and I'm not sure how those stories go yet. And so writing them out, getting them on paper is part of it. And I came across this class by Roxane Gay. She's a very successful writer whose this class is specifically about writing for social change. I didn't know that I had a desire to be in the conversation of social change. I didn't have that language. I didn't know that was a thing that I was considering. It was just, I was searching it. So her class is on a website called masterclass.com. My wife got it for me for Christmas just because I like learning stuff. And I tried learning how to sing from Christina Aguilera. That didn't go very well. I tried learning how to make beats from Timberland, but I'm not great at that. I tried learning how to cook from Wolfgang Puck. That wasn't working. And but Roxane Gay, again, she made her class for me. We have a thing. She's connecting with me. She's teaching me. She's mentoring me. She has no idea who I am, but you know, she put it out there, and we are connected now. Because of the word divergent, I started noticing stuff. And as I was reading the book that Emmanuel wrote, and I'm watching this class and engaging in this class that Roxane put together, I started just thinking about Colin Kaepernick. Emmanuel Acho is a football player who kind of landed in a moment where he could be of great value to everybody. And it made me think about Colin Kaepernick and him taking a knee. Just, it made me see that different. It made me think about how a person could not say a word and change a nation. And regardless of where you're at with that whole thing, I just started noticing the beauty and peace in what he believed he's doing. And again, you've got this kind of bus roll or snowball effect happening where I'm starting to look around me and I'm saying, wait a minute, there's some stuff happening in my life. And at around the same time, a friend of mine named Randy Good. Some of you may know Randy. He's a beautiful person, a great designer in our community, and just a mentor to me, and has become somebody that I look up to a lot. He lost his father at the beginning of the year, Calvin Good, and I knew his father had worked in government. That's about really all I knew. I knew his father's name was on a building in Phoenix, but I had never really asked Randy for any more information about his dad. I didn't know much about his dad. And in the process of just being, you know, being a person that cares about Randy, I started learning more about his dad and just his ability to silently serve. He didn't go out there and make big speeches. He didn't, um, try and consume a room. He just waited his turn and said the right thing at the right time. And meaning he just put himself out there with good heart. And again, all these things are happening around me. I'm kind of putting these dots together. And I started thinking, there's this lady when I was a kid. If you haven't noticed, that's me in the lower left-hand corner. Miss Mouton was my fourth grade teacher and changed my life. And to understand that story, you got to understand kind of a basic piece of my background. I want you to see your background a little bit. Think about where you're from. Think about where you've been. This is just my journey. I was born in Fargo, North Dakota. It's very boring there. It's although it's kind of trendy boring now. Like it's a cool kind of boring that people go to visit now. But when I was born there, it wasn't a great place to be. As a matter of fact, when I was 2, my mom looked at my dad and said, "Get us out." And he took her to Southern Louisiana. And I think she may have liked Fargo a little bit better, but Southern Louisiana was hot and muggy. It's dirty. It's gritty. It is the dirty South. And this is 5 miles from where I grew up, this picture. And the thing is, I lived in Louisiana until I was about 14. And the thing about Fargo and Louisiana is there's a lot of similarities. They're severely different places, like very different places. But as a child, I didn't know I was putting together that these places had a lot of similarities too. Deep rooted culture, great food, an appreciation for music and family and respect and manners, hard work, integrity. There's a lot of great things about both of these places. But I also grew up in an environment that was pretty racist. And I was the Norwegian kid. I don't even know if I'm Norwegian. It's just what people call me. But it was one of those things where in the school I went to, everybody knew that I wasn't born there. I didn't belong there. And they were kind of clear about it. And I go back to Miss Mouton. I was getting picked on a lot and beat up, and I didn't understand why. I didn't understand what I was doing that would cause that stuff. And Ms. Mouton would care for me, and she'd give me words to get me through, or give me one line of wisdom to just help me deal with whatever was going on. But she never let me fight back. I wanted to learn how to fight back, but she wouldn't let me. And there's just something special about her. And at the age of 14, then I moved to what I called the living painting. I had never seen anything like Arizona before. All the color and just the beauty of it. I had never seen a cactus before. What is this tree without leaves? I don't get it. How does it work? And the view I had when we came into Arizona was very much like this picture. We were driving through Casa Grande. I think this is sunset. I was driving through in the morning, or my dad was driving through, but it changed my life the minute we got here. I knew it was different than Fargo and Youngsville. And as I met people, I was welcomed by all kinds of people. And it was very different than what I'd ever experienced, almost to the point where I didn't really trust people. And Ms. Mouton stayed with me in my mind and in my heart. Like, she has no idea she made this impact on me, right? She has no idea that she made this impact on me. But Ms. Mouton was basically my Mama Odie. And if you haven't seen The Princess and the Frog, you now have, right after you buy and read Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, you have to watch The Princess and the Frog. Just more homework. It'll change your life. But Ms. Mouton would give me these little gems of advice, and Mama Odie says you got to dig a little deeper. And I don't know that Miss Mouton ever actually said that to me, but it felt that way. The minute I saw The Princess and the Frog, I thought of Miss Mouton. That was Miss Mouton. She had a blind eye to who I was visually. She heard my heart, and she knew that I would find myself eventually. And these people that were picking on me weren't really a big deal now. And you'll get through fourth grade; it'll be okay, And I did. Fourth grade only hurts a little now. I'm being sarcastic. It's okay. So imagine yourself and the people around you. When we think about the word divergent, and you imagine the little branches coming off of the stem, or you imagine the one trunk of that plant turning into two, just think about all the people around you that speak and just live a certain way. They're not trying to change your life. They're just being themselves. And the beauty of who they are is impacting you. And take note of that, take inventory of it, and be grateful for it. Look for that good in your life. And I think being a divergent thinker is really about being observant. There's a lot of intentional divergence, but I think there's unintentional divergence. And I think things just happen in your life, and be grateful for those things that are coming your way. And they usually are going to show up through a vessel called a human. And so stick close to those people and appreciate who they are and celebrate their lives. I'm going to take that a little step further. The next story is called The Other Side. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my professional life a little bit. And I want you to think about where you've worked and the places you've been, the people you've served, whether it be customers or colleagues across a company or clients, whatever your experience has been. I want you to really think about this. I've had the privilege of working for what I jokingly say are the three most hated industries in the world. Okay. I worked in the car business, I worked in healthcare, and today I work for the energy company. Typically in the news, these aren't places that are celebrated. They're not like a nonprofit trying to change the world, right? It's usually the opposite. They charge a lot of money, they're trying to get a lot of money, and that's kind of the narrative that gets out there. When I worked at the car business, I started there when I was 16, left when I was 25. And in that journey, I started as a guy that would run parts out from a warehouse to technicians. And part of my journey along that way was I get to know the technicians because I found out that they felt unheard. They call in, they're trying to work quickly. They're trying to take care of things in a fashion that's best for the customer. But the parts guys, they're paid hourly. They don't care how fast they get the parts out to you. And so I cared about that. And they showed me that caring for people mattered in an odd way because none of these guys ever showed affection. It wasn't like they were like, I really appreciate all the things you're doing to help us out. It was just noticed by me. And throughout the journey in the car business, I want you to think about your journey to you where you're at today in your profession. But you've probably gone through a variety of things and probably found one theme or a couple themes of who you are in these moments. And what I found is from delivering parts to then I was a new car delivery guy. So if you've ever purchased a car, you spent 6 hours getting beat up in the finance office and then trying to sell you the warranties and all that type of stuff. I was the high school or college kid that was waiting for you after that, who's like, remember the cool car you bought and how awesome it is? And I filled it with gas for you and I put the floor mats down and here's how your alarm works. And aren't you so excited? And I try and get your energy back up because you did just make a big moment. We all know the moment we bought a car. It's a big deal. It's a special moment. You want to be excited about it. And your car is a way of expressing yourself. And that would eventually take me into working in accessories where I help people express themselves even more with wheels and dash mats and dice in the mirror, whatever, is like, I found value in that. And I didn't know that at the time. And I would just say, like, in your moment right now, be aware that you don't even know how this moment is sculpting you. You don't know the value you're bringing to the people around you. You have to assume that good is happening where you're at. And I finished my journey in the car business as a service advisor. So when your car breaks down or it needs maintenance, there's that person that meets you in the service drive and walks around your car with you and has you sign the thing. I was really good at that job, but it beat me up and ate me alive for one reason. People hated me before they met me. I was the car guy. There was no good that was going to come out of my mouth, right? My car's broken, fix it, and it better be cheap and fast, right? And this isn't unique to the car business. This is everywhere. We want our food that way. We want our phones that way. We want our computers everything's like that. But it beat me up and I couldn't let it go. There were other people that could do this job and they go home at night and they just go to sleep and no big deal. I'd go home and I'd be thinking about that one mom with the 3 kids who couldn't get to work and how could I have helped her better? I'm never going to let that happen again. And then I'd go to work and I'm like, I'm going to do great things for people. And somebody would come in and be like, you're just trying to take my money. And doing that for years is exhausting. I couldn't do it. I'm too much of a creative, right? Empath, I guess is maybe the word. I couldn't shake it. And so the narrative here is I'm not going to walk you through my entire career at every single place. I'm focusing on that one analogy to say my journey at Banner Health was the same way. There's thousands of people at Banner Health trying to do something. They're trying to make a difference in the way people receive care or the way they take care of their body and their life. There's people at APS who genuinely care about you not having to worry about the power going out and not having it be a skyrocketing price. It's a really complicated business. And the car business is actually really confusing to people because they actually don't even make money on new car sales. It's a losing business. They make their money in the service department. and their job is to get the cars on the street so they can fix them. Used cars is different. They make a lot of money on used cars. So fight that battle. So I want to take this just one step further. And as creatives, we all will understand this because the experts see something different. When you go out to your car, you probably, I'm making an assumption, and you might know cars really well, so you're excluded. But many of us walk out to our car and we go, that's our car. It's a car. It's just a singular thing. And when my car breaks, the car broke. When you come into a service department, it's not a car. It's thousands of parts. It's thousands of things that could have broken. There are thousands of possibilities of what could be happening with your car. And they've got to try and figure it out. And it takes an expert to know where to even start. It takes a ton of training and a craft to figure out how to fix that car. And oftentimes in that industry, these people don't have great people skills. Is that sounding familiar? There's a lot of similarities in my job today compared to what I was doing in the car business. I'm advocating for people who freak out when a customer is talking to them. And they just want to solve a problem through design and video production. And it's the same. We're all just people trying to serve other people, and it gets really complicated sometimes. And so, again, your journey, remember that you're people and other people are just people. And the people that work at these companies aren't a logo. They're 6,000 people trying to help you. And most of them are really good people, and some of them are maybe your neighbors, and they're vested in this and they have the same interests you have. So we've gone through 3 stories. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes? Okay. Or just short of. So the other side is really a story about empathy. Just know that we're all in this. And when you think about Divergent, I just thought, what if when we have, let's go as far as to say there's somebody that's completely opposite of us. Let's even say somebody that you might hear labeled as an enemy. One exercise is just to try telling their story with joy and purpose from their angle. Flip the camera around to where they're filming from and give it a shot. Creatives tend to be really good at this. And so I think a lot of us get that, but it's a good reminder. It's always important to understand where they're coming from. So the last 2 are really going to be reminders, I think, for a lot of us. Sometimes we as creatives will be given a blessing or a curse with a project that just consumes us. It's not usually something given to us by work, but sometimes it is. And mine was, I started noticing that love was not being talked about the way I've experienced it in my life. When my mom was teaching me stuff, it didn't feel like love. It felt like I was in trouble. I have really good friends. And when they noticed me going a different direction, it didn't look like this. It looked like a really difficult conversation to say, Matt, you're kind of being a jerk. Or have you thought about how your behavior is affecting so-and-so? Have you thought about what you're doing to yourself? Those are uncomfortable, difficult, anxiety-driven conversations, especially when 2 people care about each other or a group of people care about each other. And I want to at least have us think about the other side. And that visual for Divergent really helped me understand this, what I call a burden. It's accepting the burden. This problem, this thing has consumed my mind for the last 10 plus years. And as a creative, I didn't know how to solve. I didn't know where to. I would do stuff. I've made movies. I've written blogs. I've started websites and ideas and all kinds of stuff. And none of it felt right. None of it seemed to really solve the problem. And it's, sometimes I'm too close to it. Sometimes I'm not close enough. but I couldn't solve this problem. But I know that we as creatives have the power to be honest and allow people to see an honest view of the whole vision of love. This is very optimistic. This is very hopeful, and it's real. I don't want to discount hugs. Hugs are very powerful. I'm a hugger. But there's another side where, with my best friends, with my good friends, I'm going to sit down and say, hey, I want to share this with you because it doesn't feel right. And we may argue. We may not talk to each other for a while. I love that person, still care about that person. And so this is like accountability time, where I'm going to share the thing that I've been failing at. And I'm going to ask for this community to just hold me accountable. I am probably going to regret this. But I've got to do some work here, and love is worth it. And so I've made a bunch of stuff and haven't put it anywhere. I haven't done anything with it. And because it felt like it wasn't the right time, or it felt wrong. And I at least I have a deep rooted desire to connect you all together the best I can. I have a deep rooted desire for you to walk away from this and feel like you can walk outside or get on the next call and see the other person with a new light, see them just a little bit different. And that you're able to walk away from this and go, yeah, I saw myself there. That story connects with me. So with this, with the 5 stories, again, you're accepting difficult invitations, and you're looking at the people around you and finding the good in them, and you're empathizing with people across the table that may disagree with you. But sometimes it's going to run deeper than all that, and you're going to have something that's fueling your fire every day, but you have no idea which direction to go, and that's called purpose. And you just have to start going, like I've been going, and it may not show up for 10 plus years. It may take a really long time for you to figure out what it is you're supposed to do. But if you remain active, eventually you'll have a pool of stuff that you can put out. I made this thing called Mangazine.life, and I thought it was it. It felt like it. I was going to reach guys and like give them a new way of looking at life, and I was going to heal them on. As I started, putting together the website and building all the stuff, I realized I'm not trying to focus on guys. It's everyone. This is not it. But boy, what a great experiment. What a great creative journey. What a great tangent. Because it took me to another place. And so I started writing, shared this with a couple of people in one of the breakout rooms. And I'm just going to keep putting effort there. And someday you're going to see some stuff from me, with an effort to be there with you and encourage you, and have you connect with the people around you in a deeper way. This was a doodle I came up during this whole little exercise. I started thinking, love is kind of hidden sometimes. And what if the heart was a bee? Because that's an easy grab, right? But what if there was like camouflage made out of hearts? And what if there was one just kind of hidden in there? I don't know. I'm playing with it. It's not a finished thing. It's literally a doodle I did at the dinner table. I was asking my kids about Divergent because I thought maybe they'd have the answer. I'm going to do stuff, and I'm going to keep making stuff and keep asking you all for your opinion and for your feedback and for your help and for your advocacy. And most importantly, just do stuff and be kind to people. So that's the 5 stories. And I hope that you heard the homework, buy the book. I don't get paid for that, by the way. It's a really important book. Buy the book, watch the movie, and love some people. And that's the message. That's the different approach, I suppose.